Well, thoughts on Cash? We touched on kind of where we stood beforehand, but how does Mirage change in comparison to now moving us on towards Cash?
It's a very similar map. At least the main difference you can kind of look at is the fact that it's less easy-sided. It's more of a map that you can kind of pick up on either side. You know, it's not going to be too influential. Whoever takes a sniper on, it's similar to Dust 2 in that sense. But also is the fact that it's a more puggy map than Mirage. You can play it a lot less tactically. You can just kind of go for very, very sound setups that don't even really need any kind of practice or smokes. Again, you know, it really isn't the kind of map where you need those heavy smokes, where you can set them up outside of the A site. B site, really not that many smokes you can do, and typically even on a fast push on A, you'll just throw that one off the side of the crate to go towards car, and that's pretty much it. It's very, very standard, very, very simple for T's to exploit, and obviously it's going to be a good chance for Endpoint starting on this T side, as I can imagine Xenex will switch, although that isn't confirmed. That now that I say that, they might stay on this T side. No, they're going to switch. Okay, so Endpoint, and definitely not counted out by going on this T side to start off, which is something very, very important that is not the same on Mirage.
For sure. I think one of the big almost selling points that I took from that is that the map is less complex if you have less experience, which is going to be huge for some of these guys, right? Because, you know, you look at this addition of Jesp on the Endpoint side of things. He's not necessarily got, you know, months or even weeks of playing with these guys. He's only been a very recent slot in.
Yeah.
So it takes time for things to adjust. Now, he may be hitting shots. He was firing off very, very well on that previous map, but how does that roll into an actual tactical ammo? That's something we may get to see, but in the same regard, we're into this one, so let's go. It's going to be our pistol round.
Yep, into it we go, as you said. Endpoint, they are setting up for a full armor buy, so nothing too special here. We have a bit of aggression straight off the bat from Xenex, pushing 3 players up towards his B site. I love to see this. He's got some great aggression though. Endpoint playing it perfectly, so passive, waiting for this peak. And Imi, he's going to be holding the angle, feeds that information to his team, takes a shot as well. Now they're going to converge, and they are all going to chase these players down. Pickles, he's the first to fall, and Endpoint, they are more than ready to take this. They are just going to rush right into this B site, and with just Peggy alive, that is going to be a really big task on his shoulders here. No smokes for the CT spawn, so that'll mean he can still peek, and that's the bomb dropped in CT as well. That's huge. Endpoint losing that first player has now meant that the CTs have control of it, but they do finally re-grab it and take it back to the site.
Yeah, what we needed to see was a crossfire, and just it didn't quite take hold. JT at least kind of looked to make things a little bit more competitive as he does find that headshot on towards Max. But even then, you know, using the phrase competitive, perhaps even a bit unjust to the situation, to be honest, because it is a 1v3. He does have himself a kit, but he's pushing onto a site where crossfires are being held on the T side, and there's still Laza ever so standing, ever so vigilant, just waiting for that push. And it's going to be nice and easy for him to mop things up. A couple of chest shots here and there will seal the deal, and it means that Xenex, well, they have a choice to make, but nonetheless, they are the losers off the back of that round.
Yes, 1-0 finally now for Endpoint, and after picking up a stunning first map, they're setting themselves in a good way to pick up the second as well. We are going to see this eco brought up by Xenex, investing a little bit more, obviously. You're going to see a full buy from most of these players, although JT's gone for the actual nades instead of armor, and Cheney, he's only gone for a pistol, so not even committing to the armor, obviously saving for that AWP. Important here on the CT side, but still, Endpoint, they've gone for a very typical buy. Triple SMG, couple of AKs as well. They've got plenty of nades. Nothing too out of the ballpark here, and we have this stack from Xenex on the B side.
That's certainly not the ideal way to kick things off. Pickles taking the brunt of the damage, knocked down to 45 HP with just a quick shot here and there through the edge of that metal sheeting. And for Endpoint, they've not really made too much ground at all. Now that's a bit of a double-edged sword, because one side it's positive, it means that Xenex don't really know what's coming. Of course they know there is some sort of presence over towards that B site, but there's also the negative that forces Endpoint to have to actually bunch up and try to do something towards the latter portion. But for now, the fact they are in this 4-man unit, they have a lot of utility. Well, it's nice and easy for them to throw out some flashes here and there, and you have to look at the map, and well, there's one thing to say. There's only one man, JT, and he's got his work cut out for him, but they're not going to be spotting him.
Oh, you say that. He's just getting shot in the face there by Mighty Max as soon as he enters the site. That's Endpoint getting the bomb down, and almost the fate of Xenex secured for this. I almost feel like a save may be necessary. There's just going to be no way you can retake this one with just pistols, and while they will get at least Pickles close up to the site, the rest of them seem to be playing a little bit more on this save. They've already backed off. The thing is, with these pistols, while some people may go, why are you saving pistols? What's the point? The whole point of it is they're bringing these into the next round, and they can just play their default again and see if they have more success. Obviously, Endpoint had those entries in this round, which meant Xenex weren't able to yield anything. But if you reset this round, it's basically a new chance for Xenex to make something work. And Shaney's going to be chasing a little bit because he hasn't really invested in armor, so he doesn't have as much to lose. If he grabs himself an AK, it'll be worth it. But the rest of them just saving the armor, bringing it into the next. They could go for something aggressive next round, grab themselves an AK, run it back, and then maybe the round could change entirely. It's going to be a completely different situation for Xenex.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to embracing the little things sometimes, right? It's really kind of the meat of the segment. It's just sometimes you have to look at going, okay, yes, I don't have myself a rifle, but I can get a pistol with Kevlar and some utility. It's better than nothing at the end of the day.
Yeah. But they're off into the third round now, and Endpoint not losing any players is very important, and keeping their economy on a high. They are going to just be going into probably a slow round here, as they are up against a couple of saved weapons, and the rest of them is just pistols. But look at this, another V-stack from Xenex. So this is what exactly these saved pistols can be good at. You can go for these crazy things. You have nothing to lose. If they lose a round, oh well, they go into the next with, you know, a bye regardless whether they win or lose. So it's just going to be one of those rounds where it's worth to take these silly risks here. And it seems that Endpoint may be sending a couple of players into this stack.
Yeah, it's that same double-edged sword which really is affecting for Endpoint, because they spread themselves out, they're looking for information, but they also could be on the receiving end a fair bit of damage. But the positive will be if they can spot out this stack, that's huge for them, because then they just rotate back over towards this A site, dive back on through, and it'll just be another easy job for them to get that pincer on towards JT. But in order for them to do that, they need the information. Now, we say it so easily, we say it's just an easy thing to find overall, but it's really not. They actually have to take these peaks, which is where Pickles is set up for this crossfire.
The way this stack's set up is so Pickles is playing the bait. Once they kill him, they're going to go, oh, we found a pick B, let's push B. They walk into a 3-man stack on the site that they can't spot out. Look at these positions here. You can see they're just not exposed at all. And they're waiting for the close-range battles where the pistols are going to be favoured. But you can already see Endpoint making the correct read. They are just going to be heading towards this A side once again. It's JT, the only man to hold this one off. The Molotov's going through, and instantly Xenex, they've realised it's rotating straight away. They know this is a full A commitment. And Max is going to jump around the corner. That's a free kill gifted to him. And I can only imagine a follow-up will be ensuing.
Doing exactly what they need to do so far, and well, for the rest of the CT side, this follow-up, it's going to be a slow one, and it's going to be them just sitting around this car, tapping off a couple of shots here and there, but it's a lot of patience overall, and really the player that can actually get anything done could have been Shaney, but he's been spotted out, which means Jess was taking this gunfight, just going to be there to hold the angle and eventually connect it to a headshot on just bit by bit. Xenex, their numbers, they are just going to be almost plucked apart, and there's not too much they can do. I think would be, you know, scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes down to almost excuses on what they can possibly get done. Because at the end of the day, they've just got these pistols. Yes, Stances and Peggy do have that Kevlar, which is why we're seeing them well and truly over towards Toxic. But for the most part, it's a scripted outcome.
Yep, a couple of bits of armor saved so they can at least commit to a bind in the next round. They have a few more nades to play with, but that is pretty much it here for the Xenex side. Endpoint don't lose any players once again. So that's only 2 deaths across the board in 3 rounds for that team. Only Ezio and Max have died, and that was in the pistol. So good stuff for them, I guess. Look at their money. They're up at 5 to 7k. That is not worrying as we go into the 4th round here. Xenex, they finally go for the buy, and the only issue for Endpoint is they haven't upgraded these SMGs. They've still got a triple SMG in their hands, which could make things very, very difficult up against these M4s.
Yeah, certainly could be a risk, but also has huge rewards if they can make it work. It's all about claiming that dividend at the end of the day, and well, let's see how they're going to approach things. As so far, it's the same default. They haven't really changed a thing, to be honest. They may have slightly adjusted the peaks they're taking, but for the most part, it's the same spots being checked, the same overall process to the start of the round. In terms of the CT side, it's them almost hovering around a bit. They're still looking for something. The aggression in towards A main is them almost trading at map control because they know they're not really doing anything over towards mid. So I do like that from Xenex. But then it comes down, can they actually do anything with it? And also, whether they go too aggressive, because you have to bear in mind, sometimes you can bite off more than you can chew.
Yeah, Shaney's got a couple of things on his shoulder though. Again, the lack of mid-control here from Xenex is meaning Shaney from the quad area on A with the AWP has to hold both highway and as well squeaky if they don't go for a push. At least we have this triple stack on A from Xenex as they have rotated the mid-player away, but still it gives a lot of information away it gives a lot of potential information away from Xenex if they don't have this mid-control. It can mean Endpoint can easily split in through the vents if they do so want to, and it seems like they will be going for this B take. One player coming in through the vents, that is going to be Imi, the rest of them coming in through this main area, and it will just be a full push. Darcy gets flashed out, that's Mighty to find the first one. It's going to be a follow-up here from Imi. He's going to be able to drop JT. These UMPs are working out massively. This time they have a smoke for CT though, so Xenex, they can't find anything.
They're completely bewildered, no idea where to look, and that's off the back of just these smokes being placed, and it's great work from Endpoint. It forces Xenex to retreat back to those lines over towards the A site, and this is almost perfect for Endpoint now, because looking away from that round counter or being a 4-0 position for them, let's just talk economics. Things are rapidly building up for this T side.
Yeah, definitely so. Again, another flawless round just means that they are not going to have to rebuy a single weapon here. This is just phenomenal. This is so rarely that you see this. At least for the Xenex side, is they get to go for that buy in the upcoming round, whereas they would usually eco because they saved 3 rifles. Again, if they lose one of these players though, that is going to be eco or a force up with pistols because they won't be able to afford it. And you can see Endpoint are aware of this. They're going to be chasing. Finally, we see the first death of the last 3 rounds here. We're going to see only Luzza found here. That is it for Endpoint. And Xenex, they're going to hold on to 1 rifle, so you can't even buy up around that. You can't drop a rifle and then buy up another because then you have 2, and the rest are going to be on pistols. So Xenex, nothing to work with. That is such a shame, but Endpoint played it perfectly, and going into the next round, they've got this one SMG on Ezio that's saved, the rest of them on the rifles. So yeah, SMG is going to be great for reaping that $600 kill reward onto Xenex's armless players. And Endpoint, their economy is just phenomenal right now. If we just have a look at it, it is like 8k each-ish.
That's perfect, and then you really add into things. I was like, well, no better way to start than with the AWP, just looking yet again to pick them apart, just really prying into the CT side. And Endpoint, they're the Vultures. Xenex looking to at least make some sort of nesting when it comes down to these sites. Of course, we've already well and truly touched on the fact that the firepower is a complete and utter mismatch, but Peggy, he does have that rifle. Perhaps as an individual, he can bring something into this?
Potentially. I mean, it's not an AWP. It's not a weapon you can kind of get a one-and-done shot on. Again, it could just come down to Endpoint double peeking and taking him out, so it's very, very difficult. But the fact is, he is on the correct side, at least if they do hit towards this A site. However, they haven't really telegraphed fully where they want to go. Although, as I say, that's splitting into the vents. Finally, this is going to be a B take. They have no B main control, only Jesp over in Toxic and Darty. Bit of an off angle. He catches a dink, turns it into a kill as well. No need to re-peek there from Imi. He will get caught off. Max is going to be able to at least relinquish that by trading it and doubles it down as well. 2 kills for him. It's going to be 2 players remaining for Xenex. And while Peggy will find something, that's probably going to be it here for Xenex.
Not only the fact he finds something, but the fashion that he found it, that doesn't really give me too much confidence, should I say, that he's going to be able to do too much more, because that was a disastrous spray if I've ever seen one before.
Yeah, down to 13 HP in the meantime as well, because they could just turn around and take him down. So he is going to go for that save once again here on Xenex, but at Endpoint they are going to pick up a 5-0, and this is just really, really good stuff from Endpoint. They're not pulling anything super tactical out the bag. They're just going for defaults, taking these aim battles, and it's working out in their favour very, very well. So keeping their economy at a high. I'm interested to see if Ezio brings this rifle and brings his SMG into the next round, because he could have retrieved a rifle off the site if he wanted to, but obviously he's got that confidence there with the SMG, so he's not even going to be dropping it, even though he was given the opportunity to do so. So keeping another SMG, obviously Xenex are going to be buying, so he knows that at this point, but still, that is confidence.
It's almost a long con at this rate as well, because when you think about it, even when there is Kevlar in play, it still reaps you that money. So if he's finding frags, why not?
Yeah, that is true.
Double op set up on Xenex though in response. That's new.
Yeah, I like this though, bringing something into the mix that may surprise Endpoint. They're not going to be expecting a double up by any means, and Darcy will actually miss that first shot over towards B, but at the end of the day, Xenex, they do have a trick up their sleeve, and Endpoint, they are going to have to be prepared for it. This time you can see they're playing it a lot slower. They're not even hedging on any map control early on. You can already see just giving away A main. Emmy's just spotting it for info, and the rest of them just going to be quite passive here on this C side. So they show that they are a little bit aware of what Xenex are bringing to the table, and they know if they pick up a 6th round on the board, then their half is secured, because they're going to be gifted in eco up to a 7-0, and even if they lose every single round and it turns into an 8-7, they've done their job.
It certainly shows the disparity as well when you look at the way the start of the first map ensued. A lot of it came down to them getting that pissed round. That's where we saw the original bulk of rounds. Otherwise, we would have seen an 8-0, there and then as well. So certainly a lot to be drawn from that first. But looking back towards the second, back towards the present, it's going to be a great peek coming in from Max. Dances is going to respond with the ADP, looking for a second, needs to find it. The turn is going to get knocked down to just 5 HP, a slithering of what he began, as we are going to see some utility invested over towards mid. A lot of flashes here and there, but it's not really going to be catching too many out. A lot of pressure on Shaney's shoulders with his AWP now over towards quad.
And he misses such an important shot and goes down because of it. That's Imi to find the entry kill. Now only one more player. It's all on Pickles, and he gets nothing. Max just takes him down, but I like how Max played that. He got picked over towards B, he got the tag off, he didn't receive any damage, and instead of just taking that fight, he went, no, I'm going to play the correct way, not the UK way. I'm going to back off, and I'm going to take this bomb back towards the A site. He doesn't take the aim battle, he doesn't over-peek, and if he went down there, that round could have fallen apart for Endpoint. So good to show that he's more about the, at least in that kind of sense, he's more about the winning the round instead of getting those frags and racking up some stats. So Endpoint securing another here. Xenex are going to be left on just 2. I'm surprised we don't see Endpoint chasing this one though, because they know they're up against 2 players. They know their economy is looking absolutely perfect, and these guys have already got weapons. There's nothing to give away to them. All you do is you have to rebuy, and it's not even an issue for the T's.
I have quite a few things to say, but I have almost a bit of a comedic one to add to it so far. And you make this point about not playing effectively in the UK way, going for the highway, which is the much better way at that, about not playing for stats. Yeah. Can we just take a gander at the scoreboard? Because, okay, Max, 10-1, 5-1. Stats?
That's something else. When you have 10-1, you usually play confident. You usually take every aim battle. And it's because you win them all. But that is very safe in playing that. But still, as you were saying, yeah, carry.
Oh, he's winning both of them at this point, winning all the decisions on all fronts. Everything is working for Endpoint. Where is the comeuppance? There's got to be a negative in there somewhere for Endpoint, something Xenex can try and abuse. It's just whether they can find it or not, and do they have the time to find it. As right now, also, these rounds, for the most part, have been relatively quick. It's only been a few of them that have been drawn out.
Yeah, and Luz is going to kick things off onto Shaney there over in main. Once again, a peak going the way of this T side, despite Shaney actually taking the fight himself, giving it away. So it's not a good way to start out a round by any means. Endpoint are going to be living the high life here with a 4v5. Xenex yet to have any retaliation to that initial pick, and I feel like at this point maybe some aggression could be understandable here from this CT side. Just go for some kind of peeks, go for some push on towards the B side. They tried it on the pistol round. Yes, it didn't work out too well, but maybe it could if they tried it again.
I think with that, we're looking for something unpredictable as well. Something Endpoint can't just whip out the textbook and say, okay, section 6, paragraph 1, Xenex go for this aggressive push through Squeaky, and then they can completely set up for it. They counter the push when it takes place, and they just destroy them. That's what we've seen so far. So the textbooks, they need to be thrown aside, which, in fairness, well, not really needed to hold off this push, as Darcy's is going to find himself one, but is the rest of his team going to live up to the height as JT goes for the huge spray? It is going to be good enough. It leaves just in a 1v1, but a 1v1 nonetheless. Well, he has the bomb, and he's pushing straight through to CT. He's taking the Angel. He's so confident, but it's going to get punished. Pickles catches him off guard.
See, you can rip that play to shreds there from JT, but when you're from Jess, sorry, but when you're 6-1 up and you go for that kind of push, the whole point of it is to catch that rotator off guard. Yes, he should have got a bomb plant. Yes, he should have played a passive, but he was low HP. He was playing in a 1v1 where all it really required was Pickles to find out where he is, flash him out with the nades, and then take the aim battle. If you going for that fast play means yes, you're not going to get that $800 kill bonus reward from getting the bomb down, but you still get a good chance of picking up the round. I understand it from Jess. It's not going to work out in his favor, so you can criticize it in that sense, but still, it makes a lot of sense going for that kind of crazy peak. However, Xenex finally picking up a round, but the issue is, again, broken record, it's the potential for a reset here for Xenex.
Yeah, and of course, one thing to really be tacked on the end is Endpoint. They're not worried about their economics at all. They've built things up to such a strong fashion where there is no concern of going, okay, hang on, maybe we should back off or not go for something crazy. Of course, what's in their minds right now is that dreaded reset, and for Xenex, it means they have to do something, but it's going to be a bit more of all of the same, and already early damage to be inflicted. No Kevlar on that rifle of JT. Already knocked down to 15 HP just sitting in this Molotov, and, well, I can see you're bewildered. Well, perhaps I should join the club.
Yeah, why would you buy an M4 with no armor? I have no idea, but clearly maybe a bit of a lapse of judgment. However, Endpoint, they are going to be hitting the A site, so JT's not under pressure. It is going to be on the rest of this CT side. Shaney specifically here with the AWP. He's going to have to get himself a quick couple of kills. He gets flashed straight out, repositions, lands himself one. Going to try and repeat back in, but he goes down there to Imi. A follow-up from Jesp as Pickles is going to go down as well. A fast rotation from Peggy through the A main area will drop at least one, but can he follow up? That's the question. Luz has already posted up with the AWP, but he has to back off as a flash comes through. Pistol's going to be out. He's taking the fight nonetheless. JT in middle, attempting to rotate, will get caught out. So one by one, as trades being found. Luzza goes for the aggression, and it's not going to be able to wield him anything here. Peggy unable to get that kill as Luzza just backs off and plays it passive. He's going to be able to take down Dancy, and now all Endpoint need to do is not take this fight.
They just need to sit tight, just strap them on, and hey, why not sit tight? Why just wait for the jump as they completely snap straight on towards Peggy's head? Pinpoint perfection as they just completely take him apart as he goes for a bit of information jump on his own, and well, there you have it. The broken record. He keeps on playing. Xenex, they've been reset. Say sweet dreams to your economy, you have been slaughtered by the bank, and a 1-7 scoreline. I think even looking for even a bronze lining at this point is perhaps even a bit too fair.
Yeah, zinc lining is where we're going at this point.
For sure.
It's just a PT50 on the side of Xenex this round, nothing else. The rest is just default pistols, so it's hard to find a silver lining for Xenex. It honestly is. They aren't getting anything done right now, and you can see maybe I'm looking into it too deep, but just off that little CT engagement we just saw on the A side, maybe the AR slightly tilted, as I can only imagine that would be the case here after such a dominant scoreline, considering the map in the previous one was fairly close. Peggy just going to YOLO out into mid, he gets shot in the face, and now the rest of Endpoint splitting into the B side. Dancy with the only invested pistol, he may be able to get something for his troubles, but he just runs into a heap of players. Max will take him, and now 2 left for this CT side.
Yeah, just a struggle at this point with the pistols, and again, don't really want to read into things, but just Max being able to jump and then still stand and then readjust certainly highlights that the ability for them just to sit tight and be much more, well, held together as players is on the struggling side. Now, I do think there is a big talking point of the fact that in that first map, it wasn't a close start. What made it close was that second half when we did see them start to bring things back. Now, as much as the context is well and truly different map and such, there is nothing stopping Xenex from just waking up and starting to claw back some rounds to at least maybe play for that 11-4 again.
I love this. Run boost up into the heavens. There's no one there to catch out, but it's always fun to see that. The issue is that run boost, it leaves you so exposed to the CT's push back in through the smoke, so it's really not even worth it. Although it actually does get just 1 kill because they're not expecting him to come from behind, but still. Funny run boost, actually gets him 2 kills. 3 at the end of the day, Endpoint 8-1. And Xenex going for another eco. I can't blame them, but I don't like it because...
I don't really have a choice, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not going to tell them to buy up because that's a terrible idea, but that's another round just given away.
To be honest, what I do want to tell them to do is just hop into chat, !pause. That'd be...
Yeah.
It would probably make a lot of sense right now.
Yeah, again, it does come down to... The whole point of pausing is to at least talk about what you're doing wrong. You can find that some teams just don't really have that knowledge. They don't know what they're doing wrong. They're just kind of losing out in all the aim battles that they take. And I mean, obviously as a spectator, we get a lot more knowledge on what's happening tenfold around the map, but maybe they don't know what's going wrong. Maybe they're just not hitting their shot. So a pause for some people can really not mean any difference. But then again, you just calm down. Just have a pause.
I think that's
chat.
where I always argue. It's just even if you're not going to say anything,
Chill
even
out.
if you just mute your TeamSpeak and you sit there dead quiet for 2 minutes, it still has more added value than just letting these rounds build enough. Because over time, you do get to that line, and once Endpoint cross it, there is no coming back.
Yeah, I mean, they're already at it, I'd say, to be honest. 9-1. I don't see a comeback from Xenex. While I say that, we have seen some phenomenal things, and again, there is always potential, but it's looking very, very unlikely at this point. It's just going to come down to whether Xenex can actually pull it out their arse and hurry up and go, because all that's going to be left is probably this last buy, and then, if they lose out on that, that's looking very likely to be something like a 12-1, which is just over.
Pretty much, and what it comes down to is looking at the way these rounds are built on up, and at least a solid start from Dante. He finds himself that first pick with the AWP. But is it going to be enough? Of course, they don't want to let it go, so they don't really want to give things away. And for Endpoint, for them, it's looking like they just want to force the hand, get themselves very set up to just go hard and fast in towards this B site. And a Molotov for Max could pretty much block out all of these positions being held, as right now they are very up close. Looks like we are going to see JT pull on away towards the latter portion of that right side of site. So smart adaptation from him, otherwise that Molotov could have completely just annihilated them. But even then, it's still pressure on Dante's shoulders to hit that first shot and also not get blocked off by the aforementioned utility.
Yeah, let's see how this one goes. So time is ticking away from the hands of Endpoint, so they do need to hurry up with some kind of round, and Imi is going to get tagged up very early, so now things are starting to look a little bit brighter for Xenex. They found that pick, not only that, but they've done a lot of damage onto the second player here, and Endpoint, they're going to be setting up outside this B site, yes, but they've got an AWP and JT to deal with. 2 incredible players, so it's not going to be an easy thing to hold off, but Peggy especially rotating back into this vent, he's going to be able to catch out Imi. I'm not sure why you boost the player with 2 HP, but it won't work out for them by any means here as Endpoint. They've already they're already having to push into the site with 30 seconds left. JT going to get caught out. Darcy does get 1, but that's only 1 as he gets traded out by Ezio. It's into a 2v3. Bomb going to be planted. Max, he's turned into a 2v2. What's happened? This round has gone right back in the favour of Endpoint. They're into their post plant. Xenex have a couple of nades to work with, but by and large, it's looking not. It's not looking very good. Sorry here for Xenex.
What happened was Max and Ezio happened, as now they're looking to play things out. It is going to be at least shady to try and be the act of discouragement. Finds himself that initial pick, and Ezio is eventually going to be dropped dead by Pickles, but very, very close and right down to the wire. But even then, we have to give them props for the attempt. Ezio finds himself 3 kills in that round. But in fairness to Xenex, they do pick things up, and it was a smart retake from them. I'll be a little bit shaky in terms of timing from that heaven to headshot push, but it still worked out.
Their B-hold was as terrible as my speaking pattern in that round.
Yeah, I think I'm going to leave the B-hold alone. I don't want to
Don't
rate them too hard, you know?
Yeah,
It's a
leave it
bit
alone.
of a dodgy one
They have
to...
families.
Yeah. Family, friends, people who care about them.
Not Endpoint though. Endpoint don't care. They are tearing them apart very, very
Yeah.
ruthlessly so. And finally, we see a bit of aggression over towards middle. We see Peggy at least pushed up. I mean, he's done this before, but I'd like to see him push in through the smoke. Potential of a player pushing out from the A site into highway, flashing in through middle. You go for something like that, but you can see Endpoint are going to be holding it. So even if he did commit something like that, it could go very negatively. Xenex looked like they were going to push up on B for a second, but just backed off towards the site. So nothing too dangerous here from their CT side. And again, they've taken 1, but can they follow up? Peggy definitely can't, because he's got no head.
Yeah, so unfortunately running around a bit like a headless chicken per se. So he's going to go caught off guard, and, well, what can the rest of the team do here? I find ourselves, not only have we gone away from Reset being a broken record, just as two individuals at this point, we are running around in circles. It's the same narrative.
I would typically say go for some aggression, but Endpoint playing this one so passively and so safe that if you try and get some aggression, it could be tough. No, we won't count them out just yet, but they aren't looking very good. That's what I'll say.
What we're really saying is pistol round.
Yeah,
that feels like where things come to a head.
Just get rid of these rounds. Who cares anymore? It's going to be Endpoints, and then just go into the pistol and try and get something out. But even so, okay.
Nearly eating your own words for a second there.
Yeah. No, we're fine. We're safe. It's all going to be on Peggy.
Was building it up to be a doable situation, but it's a 1v3. Yes, they're low HP, but Molotov has gone a hand in towards vents. Even if he can find 3 very, very crisp headshots, he's still going to run out of time.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do, and he's not going to find 3 crisp headshots, just to be realistic. I think that's too big of an ask for him. Running back into the B site, Mighty Max is on the site to do some damage. He tries to wield himself an AK, or at least find himself a pick, but nothing will be presented. He's just hopping around, right out through Ivy, into middle, and through our connector. But he's not a speed demon. Max will shoot him in the face. And Endpoint 11-2 there. Oh, almost goes down with the bomb. Just gets out of it alive. And looking at the scores, at least on Max, he's 16-3 right now. That's pretty dominant.
Some say he may be resembling the scoreline.
No, 16-2.
A bit brutal. Just knocking it down even one peg further. Let's bring things back, at least. That pistol round, we've already really hyped it up to be the big point to watch, but we have to reach the conclusion of the first half at least.
Yeah, it's not over. It's not over by any means, but it is almost over. Every time they get a kill, it's a trade. Solo peeking. Rotations are so late that you're just playing a 2v5 as a site push comes on, and then a 2v5 as a rotation comes on. So it's just, yeah, like that. I mean, he gets away with it, but if Jess got that kill, boom, you have a man advantage for Endpoint and no trade because the player on the site didn't do anything there. So either way, at least the Xenex kick it off with a nice start, although it is going to be alleviated by Lazar.
Yeah, finds himself the quick trade with the AWP very hearty at that, as it is going to be a lot of pressure on towards JT's shoulders. Has to be able to hold things off towards Vents, and in fairness, does some damage, but doesn't quite connect the frag. Now, in an ideal world, Xenex utilizes information, they adapt responsively, and they don't peek, but Pickles, he does. He flies on out, he gives away more than just his shoulder, his entire body, and just makes it easy for Lazar to go, okay, you know what, I'm just going to tap mouse one, I'm going to do what I need to do, make it happen, and just bit by bit, the picks are plenty. Endpoint, just getting them handed to him on a platter. Xenex, why are you facing? Just what is the reasoning behind these solo peaks? Because they actually had all the information they needed to set themselves up, so they didn't need to go for any more solo peaks off the back of information, right? That's the only reason you really peak. Aside from going for a double peak to find a frag or believing that you're going to hit the shot, the only tertiary reason, the only sensible one for them at this point is to play for information. They already had it. There was no need.
TILT. Tilt. Well, another round secured for Endpoint here. We have a couple of saving players on the Xenex side, so they'll be able to bring up a buy here for the final round of the half, and that's going to be one small positive here, a bit of a silver lining, if I must say, but it's whether they can converge, and I don't think that's going to be happening. Endpoint are one off of a very, very dominant half. If they aren't on that already here with a 12-round streak, so it's important to note the fact that Xenex have only picked up 2 rounds, and neither of them have been connected. They've both been separate, so 2 resets have come in here. And that's just horrible in terms of building up economy and taking rounds together. So that is why they're having such a struggling time. So buy up for the last round. Triple rifle, couple of pistols, bit of utility. Endpoint aren't worried.
Yeah, not worried by a long shot. And for them at this point, all they're seeing is the dollar bills as they look to take this cash from winning this map and close it out with a nice section of points as well. So there really is no complaining factor for them. It's all about positives. And in comparison to Xenex, well, just a bit lackluster. I think that's already been covered, but as a team, there's a lot they can learn from this because they have been very, very competitive throughout the entirety of this tournament. But looking at this round, nonetheless, it's them set up with a bit more mid-aggression. Of course, it's over towards the right side this time around, so Shaney going to be looking to make things work, and still very passive holds across the map. Not really aggressive aside from that singular push on towards mid, and even then, I'm not sure I can classify that fairly as out there aggression, especially with Lazar now up towards boost. He's not really going to be having that much information in itself, and from him, that's just a peek he can take and find a frag.
Yep, and now we are going to see this push up into middle. A lot of aggression over on the upper boost. Lazar isn't going to be taking quite much of a fight. As I say that, they aren't hitting mid. They're actually going over towards A main, it seems. Although they really are taking their time with this push eventually. ME is going to finally clear this angle, but again, with 45 seconds left, they have to hurry up and clear all these angles. They have to clear close, they have to clear lockers, go towards the deep end of main, and then make their push. So they are either running out of time or it's all a fake. And yeah, the bomb It's in middle. It's going over towards B. This is going to be a B tick. So we have Imi to create the distraction on A. We have a player up and boost to catch any rotations or anyone peeking out through Z. And the rest of them coming in through B main. No vent split just yet, though.
JT, where are you? You're leaving Dancy's all alone. He's pitching his tent, and yes, he's going to find himself one, but you're not even holding the cross. JT, what are you doing? It's all just falling apart. Peggy at least going to find one with the deagle, and JT finally swings in from CT, so at least making things better for him, and he finds a second frag on towards Ezio, so he's brought things back, and I give him credit for that, but...
Lazar, though, 1v3, does pick up Peggy, but the defuse will be on, and that Molotov will seal the deal, it seems. Lazar's going to be able to throw a smoke into it. Okay. No, maybe not. It's going to be the round for Xenex, but funnily enough, the round that makes no sense is the one that they pick up. 3-12 in that half. It's going to be slightly worse than the last map, obviously, but again, it's all going to depend on that pistol. Do you honestly think, from the bottom of your heart, that they can pull this one back?
No.
Yeah, don't go anymore. That's fine. That's all
no.
the analysis I needed.
That's all. I'm right now. I'm looking at JT. Right. I'm looking at him and going, okay, so you made a complete blunder at the start of the round, but somehow you managed to pull it together by just diving back in through CT, just not holding back, just holding on towards W, and finding those frags. So I'll give him credit for that. That 3K, it was nice. But damn, that should not have been a round they picked up.
No, that shouldn't. But sometimes individual play does crazy things here, and Xenex are going to need a lot of individual play to pick up this pistol here. Aggression into middle, it seems. The smoke's gone down. They haven't committed just yet, waiting for the taps to go away. Imi will stop, and now that's going to be the signal for them to push right through. This is going to be the push through the smoke, though. I like this play. You see this quite a lot in UKCS, and it works out sometimes, although Imi's going to deny that first one. Now they push up through the highway. You can see Endpoint already aware of what's going on, and Max, he's going to be able to follow up. It's Dancy to where he's going to trade, but Max, again, that's 2 and 3. He's going for another, but Dancy was going to, again, trade here for this T side. However, that's all they'll find. Endpoint, 13 rounds for them. And surely this map is sealed.
Yeah, I think at this point my blunt no might actually be having some truth to it as 13-3. And Xenex, well, what is their game plan? Tell me, you are now the coach behind Xenex. What do you tell them?
Rush B, don't stop.
Is that where we find ourselves? That's a pretty...
I mean, it's...
I mean, they are doing it, in fairness. They're stopping. They're taking it slow.
I haven't seen their T side yet. They've lost a pistol. That's one thing. I want to see a buy round. I don't think we'll see a proper buy round. This is what Xenex do so often, though. Even if they don't get the bomb down the pistol, they eco the second round fully, and then they buy up in the third. And that's definitely some money. Jesp is buying the Cubans for tonight, boys, because he's just racked up a good amount of cash in the bank. That's 3,600. So Xenex are likely going to buy here, because that's what they do very often. And yeah, you can see it's an interesting strategy. And the thing is, it would work quite well if it was a good surprise factor, but Xenex do it every game that they lose their T-side pistol. They don't do it on the CT side because obviously it's way more expensive, but every T-side Xenex play, they always force this one up in the third round, which I don't understand, because it's past its point of understanding now. Everyone knows what's going to happen, so what's the point?
Yeah, the one plus to doing is that unpredictability factor. It's certainly said for so many teams. You look at UFrag, everyone knows that they are the team that always save. So when you're playing up against them, okay, they're not going to force it. We're up against an eco, and every time it's the same result as we are going to see that mid push. Shaney is going to find the first on towards Lazar. No trade, but some starting work. Well, a proving ground, I think, is the better way to put it for Xenex at least.
Yeah, and I mean, Endpoint aren't really taking this seriously. Just to preface it with that, they've got a double auto shotgun on a buy round. Some
say we like to just gloss past that and pretend it doesn't exist, because that I'm not a fan of the shotguns as is, and that's just an abysmal sight.
I'm not even blaming them. It's 14-3, Ryan. There's no logic here. We don't need logic. All we need is Max, and Max is dead, so now that's a round. It's a highway. They're going to take control of A. Imi will get himself one, but it's going to be the shotgun duo left for Endpoint, and I don't see this happening, to be honest.
Have you worked out the formula for this map? If Max is dead, then they lose round.
Really? Is that the formula?
Is that the formula right now?
It might be. Who knows?
21-6. Not going to be complaining.
He's doing quite well.
Quite well.
Understatement of the year.
Yeah, pretty much the understatement of the entirety of the UK Masters right there. Max, he's doing okay.
He's doing okay. He's not doing bad. He's alright.
He's an alright player. Ezio, the last man remaining. A 1v4, of course, is the predicament that he finds himself upon. So his journey is to just keep on pushing here and there, try and just dive around the place, and, well, there you have it. Ezio taken down. Not quite Max, but still.
Yeah. Well, let's see what can happen at least. Endpoint have so much money, especially on Jesp, the bank amount for their team. I don't see a buy stopping Endpoint really from Xenex. They've got a full rifle buy, a couple of Galils as well, but I feel like Endpoint should just be able to close this out. I'd like to see that, to be honest. I feel like these are just consolation rounds if Xenex pick anything up. I'd like to see Endpoint play safe and not play stupid.
Well, we can certainly hope, and we've set the scene, but now, to bring back the more serious side of things, let's see what's going to take place. As Jess peeks straight through vent, catches O'Shane, he just, no response been made, no trade across the board, and already pitting us at a situation, a negative one at that for this T side. JT does have an opportunity, but he's just being tagged on through the smoke. So low, 20 HP, jumping around, gives away his information. Ezio going to take advantage of that wholeheartedly and peeks around from himself, takes him down, and Endpoint, well, a two-man advantage. They're going to keep on just playing ever so strongly. Look at this crossfire they've got set up, the push, it's going to come in towards the A site, and Lazar, well, that's an easy picking if I've ever seen one before.
Yep, at least something's found from Peggy, but that will be it here. I think Endpoint are going to be rotating back in. They're ready for this. A bomb plant needs to go down, and Peggy will finally commit to it. It's a safe one, so they can't move too far off the site. We already have a back quad play there from Darcy, taking a bit of a peek there with the AK, but as soon as they find him, he's going to be flushed out. He's going to have to take a bit of a fight here because he can't face a 4-on-1, but nope, he goes straight down, understandably peeking in that position. Endpoint getting themselves a 15th round on the board, and 16 is just looming over the heads of them.
Just the confidence as well from these players. Lars are more than happy to take shots through smokes and such. Jess just peeking around the place yet again. Not quite, the same player we saw in that first map, but he's just stepping up enough for the rest of his team. Of course, 19-9, nothing to be complaining about. Overall, Endpoint as a 5-man unit, just seemingly on a different level from Xenex in this matchup in particular. Now, that's a point I want to stress. These two teams, in a lot of other matchups, very, very strong, and two teams of the very same caliber. But in this series specifically, it does look like Endpoint are just that one step ahead.
Yeah, that's definitely proving to be true. And Jasper, again, he's gone spicy. He's whipped out the chili con carne because he's got himself a cheeky little auto shotgun, because that is going to be on the B side. Straight away, actually, Shaney does find one, so Luzza's going to be dropped actually right out of the equation here for the Endpoint side. The orb not to be retrieved here from Endpoint. Well, as I say, that Jasper's going to drop his shotgun and take it, so at least that's a wise call to make. You don't want to throw away this round, it's pointless. You don't want to get reset and then force back down to an eco and then have to wait a few more rounds before you can close it out, so just play it safe, and Endpoint will be doing that. They've given away the A site. They're going to be playing for the retake here. You can already see that they've realised this is likely going to be an A take, and instead just going for this mid-aggression here as they start to push their way down back into highway. And now we are going to see the A take come out full fold. And Xenex, they are going to just push right in. Jesp eliminated from the server, so no AWP play here for the Endpoint side, and the rest of the Ts, they've still kept them all alive, which is important.
And Max, he's still standing, so perhaps the formula is still alive, but it looks like they are going to be crushing the science, as they are just going to be falling back and going for what is effectively going to be known as a save from here. So 15-4, soon to be 15-5. The dream, it's formulating.
Is it? you're such a kind soul, Flex. You're so nice.
I try. I do try.
I think I'm a little bit more mean on this front.
If the glass is filled up to 50% with some water, what is it to you?
With water?
Or anything really. I mean, at this point.
Well, it depends. Depends what it's filled with.
Ah, fair enough.
Water?
If we'll go with water for now.
Okay, it's a drink.
Oh wow.
What's happening on the screen here?
Oh,
Ooh, hello.
The producers, they already think they know what's happening.
They thought the game's over.
They thought it was done. They just thought right here, right now, they're talking about water, it's got to be over.
Oh dear. It's all good, it's all good. We're back into the game. Game's not over just yet, guys. And Endpoint, well, they want to make it so. They board up into this one. Obviously saving some rifles on the previous one, going to allow them to do so. Got a Mag 7 and a pistol. And the rest of them just going to be on these rifles here. Bit of aggression to kick off the round with. This is what Xenex should have been pulling out. This is exactly what Xenex should have been pulling out in the CT. That's why. It works. Do it. If they watch a VOD back, Xenex, push sometimes. Not always, just sometimes.
Sometimes you just need to tap that W key and actually move forward instead of always moving sideways, I think is the go there. Perhaps going full NA is the way to look at it. Go study some VODs. As for now, at least, Jesp, very, very low, so he's going to get boosted up. Now, I actually kind of like this, because once you know someone's in that spot, it's very, very easy to deal with via utility or just volleying a couple of shots. So him being up there is smart, because all the utility around him is also completely just not touching him at all. So his 9 HP, so important at this point, really just boosted back up. Of course, to the rest of the lineup, they're just sitting tight, they're just being passive, they're holding angles.
Yeah, and time is just ticking down slowly but surely here for Xenex. They need to get themselves up onto